My name is Florence Fauché. I'm a professor of political science here at Sciences Po, and I am the new director of the Center for European Studies and Comparative Politics. I initially trained at Bordeaux, and then I did my PhD at Aix-en-Provence. After that, I did 2 years as a postdoc at the University of Oxford, at St. Peter's College and at the Maison Française, before taking my first academic position as lecturer in politics at the University of Stirling in Scotland. I came back to Sciences Po in Paris and then moved on to become Associate Professor of Political Science and Sociology at the University Vanderbilt in Tennessee in the US, where I was also the co-director of the Max Cade Center for European and German Studies. I came back to Sciences Po, this time to the Centre d'études européennes in 2010. In the last 5 years, I have worked on the symbolic dimension of public policy. It focuses on the messages that are embedded in public policies, that carry messages that the audience also needs to understand, but that cannot be necessarily explicitly articulated and formulated in words. This is done routinely through all public policy, but because it is routine precisely, a number of analyses have neglected this dimension. I've been particularly interested in this in the context of crisis, because it is in times of crisis that we can see more precisely how decision makers, politicians, governments actually use the symbolic to pass on messages that need to be there, but at a time when there's very little opportunity to develop complex messages. For instance, I worked on the responses of the French government to the terrorist attacks in 2015, and we showed in particular how the government had to innovate and draw from the symbolic repertoire to pass on messages about the unity of the nation, the importance of the values of the Republic, but also to convey messages about the strength of the government and the resilience of the state. So all these messages cannot be passed on through verbs, through vocabularies. It comes through the context, the gestures, the rituals, the flags, the ceremonies that are organized. I've come to be interested in the symbolic dimension of public policy because through my career I've looked at how people give meaning to the world in which they act, and I've paid particular attention to how political activists, first in the environmental movement and then in political parties, make sense of the world in which they are, try to construct an organization that gives meaning to their action and then act on the world. But this involved paying attention to the organizations of conferences, to the organization of debate, deliberations and so on, that made me reflect really on how symbolic practices were an intrinsic part of this political action. And I've transposed this interest in social representations and collective representations to public policy. My motivation for this post comes from my desire to learn and to discover a new role, therefore adding a dimension to my career. But I'm also taking this position with enthusiasm and humility. Enthusiasm because this is a fantastic team at the CE. I'm talking here about academic researchers, but also the support team and the junior, PhD students who are joining us. There's a passion for research that is widely shared, and a passion for plurality and a tolerance for each other, which means that we are a pluridisciplinary center. We have sociologists, political scientists, urbanists, philosophers. We have also colleagues who come from different sub-disciplines within these disciplines and bring different approaches, different methodologies, different epistemologies. We do this also with a passion for keen interest in the international dimension of our research. First, because a number of us come from abroad, in the sense that they were born and bred outside of France, or they have studied outside of France and they've joined the CE. We also have this passion largely because we are a Centre for European Studies and Comparative Politics, but also because we want to communicate and we want to collaborate with colleagues from across Europe and beyond. And we do that with great enthusiasm and quite a degree of success. So it's also humility because my colleagues are fantastic, as I said, and we need to carry on and explore new ventures at a time that is quite important in terms of understanding better the transformations of the world in which we live, to enrich our knowledge and maybe contribute to help changing it. Sciences